Momentum is killing your gains, and here is why. The simple answer is, if you're using momentum, you're not isolating the single muscle you want to train. You're using more muscles than you actually should do to do the exercise. So here's an example. When you're doing a bicep like this, as opposed to the way you should be doing it, isolating the muscle, like this, you're using momentum. When you're using momentum, you're using gravity and not your muscle. So the arm is swinging back, momentum carries you backwards and carries you back up. You're not isolating the muscle doing that. Here's another one. So many people do this one wrong, in particular in the gym, and it frustrates me that they're not isolating the muscle. So this is your normal way I've seen doing in the gym. They lean back a little bit, and they go 4. So, as you can see, I'm swinging wildly, I'm swinging everywhere. Instead, what you should be doing is this. Notice how my body is remaining rigid. The muscles that are being activated there are my lats. I'm not swinging backwards, I'm not swinging forwards. I'm remaining still. So that's the most important thing with isolation, is to remain still through your exercise and let the muscle do the work. Don't let gravity take over, don't let momentum take over. When it comes to this kind of exercises, so many people use momentum, use gravity to try and get more out of the exercise. Now, there are 2 thoughts to this. So the first thought is that sometimes using momentum and gravity is good. For instance, let's say you've exhausted yourself and you can't do any more and you want to squeeze out a couple more reps. Don't use momentum for the first maybe 8 reps, and for the final 2 you can squeeze it out. Or you can divide it into sets. So if you're doing drop sets, for instance, do the first 10 without momentum, without using gravity, and then the following 10 use gravity and momentum to squeeze more out and to get that muscle more worn out, more broken down, so that it can build back up again. The second school of thought is quite opposite, and it's this. Using any kind of cheat method is going to be bad. So you should never use momentum, never use gravity. Always isolate the muscle, and if you can only do 10 sets, then, or 10 reps I should say, then that's it. If you're trying to get more out of it, using cheat methods, then you're not going to get out of it. But I don't subscribe to this method. I subscribe to using cheat methods to a certain degree when you've worn the muscle out completely. So let's say for a drop set, I think it's allowed. You should be able to cheat a little bit and use momentum a little bit. If you can avoid it for the first few sets, maybe not do it then. But go ahead if you think you're burning your muscle out more by cheating in later sets, then yes, use it then. Now myself, I try not to. I try to keep my body as still as possible. Now, maybe I should. Some kind of cheat method in my workout. However, I don't. It's just my way of doing things. I decided not to use any kind of momentum, not to use any other part of my muscles other than the muscle that I'm trying to activate and trying to zone in on. But that's just the way I do things. Of course, the other things to watch out for are things like range of motion, or how far you're going with the weight. So for instance, if you were doing a bicep, your range of motion can change. So for instance, on a bicep curl, from here to a straight arm, all the way up past the 90 degrees, and activating that muscle when it gets to the top. And going all the way down, that can be beneficial. Some people only go from where it's activating up to 90, and that's it, and down, and try to get the most out of it that way. And I find if you're completely stretched, and you go all the way up and squeeze, so that you get that mind to muscle connection to the bicep, or to any muscle. If you're going full range of motion for me, that works better at activating the muscle. I mentioned mind over muscle connection. That's important too. If you're not getting that activation in your muscle, you're not isolating that muscle, and you're using too many muscles, you're not going to get that mind to muscle connection. It's incredibly important to feel the muscle work. I've mentioned this in previous videos that I've done. Mind over muscle, mind to muscle is very important. There have been scientific researches, and I've said this in a previous video, where some groups, 100 and 100, 100 was told to do no exercises, the other was told to do no exercises, but they were put in a cast from their wrist down to their elbow, and they were told to, for 20 minutes a day, think about exercising that arm, but not do it. So for 20 minutes, they would think about doing the exercise, and at the end of a certain period of time, their muscles were measured. The group that had been told to do no exercise had lost muscle. The group that were told to put the cast on and to think about doing the exercise had actually lost less muscle. So that mind to muscle connection is incredibly important. If you're not feeling the muscle working, if you're not isolating that muscle, you're not going to get the 100% that you should get out of the exercise. The other one where I was talking about biceps and range of motion, the one that I was showing you behind me with the straight bar, it's the same thing. If you're not getting that angle correct, and I've seen this so many times as well, people pulling it down too far, people pulling it all the way back. You need to get it just here, just on your clavicle. You need to get it, so a range of motion from a straight arm all the way down and elbows right back, so that your shoulder blades are pulling it right down. So many people get it wrong, so many people get the angle wrong, so many people get the range of motion wrong. It's one of those exercises that's incredibly hard to actually watch if somebody in the gym is getting it wrong. And you can't go over and say, sorry, that's wrong, because then you're interfering. So they have to somehow have somebody say it to them in the gym that's a trainer. But I've seen so many trainers in the gym get it wrong as well. I have seen in the gym people do this. What they do is lean forward, pull back, lean forward, pull back. Now if you're hoping to isolate a muscle by leaning forward and pulling back, if you think about it, if I'm just doing this, what muscles am I using? I tell you, it's definitely not my lats or my back. I'm probably exercising the lower part of my back and my abs more than anything else, when in fact what you want to be exercising are your lats and your back muscles when you pull back like this. If you pull back like this, you can feel your back muscles working, you can feel your lats working, you can feel your shoulders working. All those muscles, if I pull down like that, pull down into the lats, right there, that's where I'm isolating the lats. So that's where you want to be. You want to be pulling down, keeping the body straight, pull right down, and feel that tension in your lats and your back and your shoulders when you're pulling down. That's where the activation is, that's where the isolation is. That's what's most important. Lastly, thanks guys for watching. Subscribe in the middle there at the end of this video. There's 2 videos as well either side. You can give them a quick watch. All your likes, all your shares, all your subscriptions, thank you very much. Keep watching. I'll see you in the next one. Good night.